I mean, Rob, if you had any understanding of my full body of work, which I would not expect you to, I would expect you to understand that I have no problem calling out democratic corruption when I think there's corruption. I just happen to have a honest, genuine disagreement with you as to the corruption of the FBI.
Was there corruption? Any lawfare corruption against Trump?
Lawfare, no, again, a genuine disagreement on the lawfare against Trump. For instance, an example of corruption that Biden did that I would agree with when he pre-pardoned like his entire family and Hunter Biden, I call that a form of corruption that I would condemn. And I said that, I tweeted it out, I have no problem.
Trying to look into that.
The Democrats impeached Trump, form of corruption that I would condemn. And I said that, I tweeted it out, I have no problem.
Trying to look into that.
Trump was impeached for soliciting interference in the election. That was what he was impeached for. He used his power to try to get Zelensky to find dirt on Hunter Biden and Joe Biden. We're not allowed to do that.
if we deport, like if by the time 2028 rolls around and like we've already deported like 7.
If we deport everyone, all the fucking slave migrant workers, as MAGA likes to frame them, working in agriculture, and then do 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico, and maybe 10% on China, or 60% on China, or whatever percent on China, and he makes the Fed lower rates when they probably shouldn't lower rates, I would imagine we'd be in a pretty inflationary period, and voters don't really seem to like that.
I don't give a shit. I can't be more clear. Are you gonna cry? You can cry about it?
Rob, I'm not gonna cry about it.
Ready to move on? There is a conversation. My belief is
if you want to see more content like this, I would really appreciate you liking and subscribing. It really helps with the algorithm. And make sure to check out the Discord and other social links in the description. Watch my goat, Econoboi, debate Rob Noerr. It's not about economics though, dude. The old debates between Econoboi and Rob Noerr in economics are so fucking funny, man. God, I don't think Rob Noerr. Okay, I hate Rob Noerr in economics. He's Econoboi W. Everything's an Econoboi W.
Oh, you'd have to give me some. Okay. First question: best and worst thing about the Trump admin so far, from your perspective?
No, it's not about the Destiny stuff. That's fine too.
Yeah.
Worst thing is the Trump meme coin. It's fucking it's pathetic.
Yo, thanks for the 10 gifted subs. Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah, I really appreciate it. Thank you. Rob's epic blowhard. Ever watched those? What the Destiny one? What?
That would be the worst thing. I thought that was disheartening right before he came in.
What's bad about it in your mind?
It's like grifty. It's like Carney Barker shit. It's beneath what a president of the United States should be doing. I'm not saying it's illegal. It's different than Hawk to it.
Have you used DeepSeek yet? No.
It's a meme. It's designed.
Is that a AI? Oh, is that the Chinese AI thing? Ban DeepSeek too.
Simply as a meme, but it's still scammy. And it's fucking shit. It's like Carnival Barker shit. Best thing I would say is how forceful he's been with the executive orders, particular things like going after the clearances of the 51 former intel officials and following through with a lot of his promises, like pardoning people at January 6th, enforcing the border. So being unapologetic while he does it.
And you think a blatant pardon for January, you wanted that?
Not really. I would have been okay if there were specific people that engaged in acts of violence that wouldn't have been pardoned. But I also
wasn't oh god, I should have looked into this more. I just saw I saw it on Reddit. I think I saw it in Destiny's Reddit actually. There was a January 6th guy that was part of it actually ended up fucking killing someone.
I understand how that would have been a trap for Trump, because if he starts doing that, then what the media and the Democrats are going to do is literally go through every single person and say, but this one person that was pardoned. In addition, because of the corruption that
Indian man pardoned for Jan 6 riot, shot, killed while allegedly resisting arrest. Oh, never mind. The MAGA guy was killed. 2 Jan 6ers down, but he was resisting. Or what did he do to fucking get arrested? God, kill me.
Surrounded it, I think, and the obvious double standard in how people that were on the left that committed acts of violence, political violence and riots and things like that.
Oh, so about March 20th when Trump was in a bunker.
I think that the best thing to do to move on to the country was to pardon all of the people. So I understand if it was my preference, there may have been a handful of people that engaged.
You real? If yes, say boom. Do you want a big boom? Boom! Is that what you wanted? Is this what I need to get viewers?
Extreme acts of violence that I wouldn't have pardoned, but as the situations play out, it's probably the best thing to do.
Okay, so it's like when what didn't Andrew Johnson pardon like a bunch of Confederate like war generals? Yes. You think of it similarly, like, hey, let's just move on from this, like whatever fucking political price, just
right. If he would have been like, well, there's 3 I'm not pardoning, then people would have been like, but what about this 4th one? And then it just becomes a never-ending relitigation. In the public sphere, I guess, political sphere. By the way, some of that's happening. There's already reports that state judges are now charging state crimes with some of the January 6th people.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, I don't know. I mean, in general, I guess I assume that I guess it does ultimately depend, because I'm sure some Jan 6 people might be elevated, like maybe that's already happened. I feel like a lot of Jan 6 people are kind of revered to some degree, but maybe that's probably by a small minority of people. Most people probably don't know anybody.
I'm in America, North Carolina.
Involved in
if you
January
need
6.
to know.
I don't know that that's...
Also, I didn't hear the... Maybe it was
true. I bet most conservatives know someone that was there, not necessarily someone that was arrested. But I don't know if that's what you mean. Do you mean most people
not like
someone that was jailed? Or?
Like involved with like
that's probably
the riot.
Test message.
Maybe 5 to 10%. Yeah, but but I know there's some streamers that you may know that were there on January 6th.
I mean, I know like Nick Fuentes, and I guess I know.
God, it was so funny. Process, you might have even been there. Also, Process, I will join anytime. Hell yeah, for a 500 viewer raid, of course I will. Dude, that fucking Tim Hale guy. Oh my god, the fact that I was on some panel sometime, and I think it was Grid, who I respect. Grid Motorsports, if you guys know him. Grid is like a relatively reasonable guy. The fact that like he's like, let's talk to this fucking J6 guy, who's also, by the way, like a full-on neo-Nazi dude. Really, brother?
Baked Alaska, I know, was one of the guys who was in the Capitol.
Thanks for the follow, Fred K32. I appreciate it. And welcome.
Well, but I know other streamers. I'm not gonna like you've interacted with that were there.
some hooded mystery men. But
they've announced.
Okay, so all right, so it's January 20th, 2026, 1 year into Trump's administration. What do you hope that Trump has accomplished so far?
For me, I'm a single issue voter that corruption is being outed more and more. I'm hoping that things have been... I hope that there's...
You know how he got rid of the corruption? By firing 17 inspector generals without notice that he's legally required to give Congress. Let's go, baby.
The January 6th committee that outs the corruption of them. I hope that there's investigations into the corruption of the FBI and DOJ under Trump or under the Biden administration. I hope that investigations...
Don't worry. I'm sure we'll get that out of Cash Patel, baby. I'm sure we'll get the... not politically motivated investigations.
And his family come forth. I hope that investigations into the corruption of media figures that went after Trump and generals that went after Trump. I hope that much of that stuff is released. It's made public to the people so they can see how corrupt the systems are. In addition to that, I hope that the border is secure, that we see border crossings remarkably low, that particularly the most violent criminals have been deported. Hopefully we have peaceful resolutions as much as possible in Israel, Palestine, and Ukraine. That would be nice. And I'd like to see people's earnings.
I don't know. God, I don't. Peaceful resolution in Israel, dude. The first of all, I don't know the mechanism for Trump getting that, but also why, I don't understand. Why the fuck would we ever expect this out of Trump? Depending on what your definition of peaceful resolution in Israel is the guy who just said that we gotta deport the people from Gaza and put them in Egypt and Jordan, for a temporary time or maybe a long time. Who knows? Why would you ever? I got things in the mail saying Trump is for Jewish voters. They knew I was a Jew at heart. Okay, they knew.
The wage growth going up, unlike we didn't see under the Biden administration. I would like to see that. So it's not necessarily about the price of eggs dropping. It's about the price of eggs slowing down to an acceptable rate where people's wages catch up with it.
Oh my God, guys. He understands inflation this time. Last time he didn't understand inflation. Last time he didn't even know. Actually, he probably still doesn't really understand inflation. Last time he didn't really understand why the methodology for CPI was changed.
Okay, you said you're a single issue voter on the corruption. So hypothetical, if 2028 rolls around and the Republican nominee is like Nikki Haley,
the high level weapons manufacturers from Israel, nobody will feel comfortable until Hamas is completely gone. I understand that. I don't know how feasible that is at this point. I don't know. At least not without. It would take maybe another fucking year or two. I don't know. I'm not a military tactics guy, so maybe I sound retarded, but it just doesn't seem to be that feasible. But
establishment type. Mm-hmm. But the Democratic nominee is like
Trump knows inflation probably better than anyone in Washington. I don't know. Maybe like Sonic inflation. Maybe like that type of stuff. I don't know if he knows much about inflation, regular inflation, though. Considering that he, wants the fucking Fed to lower rates, which would be probably horrible.
Nina Turner, like a person who's like a really far left, like I'm gonna fucking abolish the FBI, like get rid of the CIA type? Like, who do you vote for in that situation? Or maybe, like, do you just not vote?
I would have to check into Nina Turner more, but if what you're saying is true, Nina Turner.
Interesting. Okay.
I would have voted for Bernie Sanders over Jeb Bush.
Okay.
Right. Okay. And is there anything? I guess I already know the answer to this. So, is there anything that if Trump fails to accomplish, you just like would fully regret your vote for Trump?
I don't think I would regret. If he fails, regret. There could be things that he does that's beyond failure, but no, if he fails to do anything significant like his first term on corruption at institutions like the FBI, I still wouldn't regret voting for him over someone like Kamala Harris, who would have actively been part of an administration that would have further weaponized it. So if he failed in the extent that he decides that he's going to weaponize the FBI to go after conservatives, pro-life people, conservative parents at school board meetings, etc., I think the chances of that happening are remarkably slim to none. I don't know why he would go after his own people like that. But hypothetically, if he does that, then yeah, I would regret my vote.
Okay. And like one thing that I think that what I am like most concerned about from like a left-wing, well, I guess I don't even want to say I just generally speaking, there's probably a lot of people that are concerned about this, but is I'm just really worried about 2028. And here's what I'm worried about. Okay, here's what I'm worried about.
Causing it
I fully personally believe that if Trump does what he says he's going to do, that he will be extremely deeply unpopular, and the whole Republican Party will be very unpopular, right? So like my assumption would be that if we deport, like if by the time 2028 rolls around and like we've already deported like 7,
if we deport everyone, all the fucking slave migrant workers, as MAGA likes to frame them, working in agriculture, and then do 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico, and maybe 10% on China, or 60% on China, or whatever percent on China, and he makes the Fed lower rates when they probably shouldn't lower rates, I would imagine we'd be in a pretty inflationary period, and voters don't really seem to like that.
Of the 11, 15, however many undocumented immigrants, million undocumented immigrants in the country, and like we've done near universal tariffs on almost everything, 10, 20%, whatever. I think that things will just be bad enough that people will be like really eager to vote for a Democrat.
He can't make the Fed lower rates. He tried last time, and he wants to do it this time. He said that he's going to demand the Fed lower rates. I understand legally he's not supposed to. Trump doesn't give a shit about that. Legally, he's not supposed to fire 17 inspector generals without notice to Congress. Trump did it anyways. He doesn't care.
But let's just assume that happens. What I'm scared of is like J.D. Vance or Don Jr. is the nominee in 2028. And then we see like...
Go ahead.
So what'd you say?
Yeah, no, that's good. I'm just thinking through the dates. Go ahead. It's the next presidential election.
Right.
Yeah,
and so what I'm worried about is that the Democratic nominee, whoever that ends up being, ends up winning by, whatever, like a relative. It's just like, the Democrat won basically, right? And I'm worried that Trump, he does basically exactly what he did 8 years previous in 2020. It was totally fraudulent. It was totally fake. The election's fake. We're taking it to the courts. We're doing the alternative electors again. And J.D. Vance has already committed that he absolutely would have, just
Not
thrown out the electors and allowed the House to
2020.
elect the president. And so what I'm worried about is that plan gets one step further, and the House just like disregards the vote of the states and just elects, Vance or Don Jr., whoever the Republican nominee is, and then the court, which could very well be 7-2, right-wing Supreme.
No, it's not required to give 30-day notice. It's recommended. I don't believe that's the case. I believe it's required to give 30-day notice. That's my understanding of the law.
Court basically just says, yeah. I mean, that's legal. You're allowed to do that under some interpretation.
No, I do. I'll be honest. I have a similar fear. I do. Like, I think that maybe something you'd be like, see, this would be fucking disaster for this country. Is let's assume you're right, that it's not that popular, and then you're going into 2027. And so Trump's team decides what they're going to do is collude with a suspected Russian spy to get disinformation about his opponent being on beds that got pissed upon, then weaponize his FBI to illegally spy on his opponent, and then leak that information to the press routinely. That all runs on that. That would be a disaster for this.
In a letter, the White House suggested the firings were illegal because they violate a law that requires giving Congress 30 days advance notice with the reason for any removal of a respective general. He said Monday, even though he was not removed in accordance with the law, he was effectively fired, given that he has no longer access to the building and computer systems. Trump in 2020 summarily dismissed or sidelined a series of inspector generals who were seen as investigating his administration aggressively. Partly in response to that, Congress strengthened the 30-day notice law by requiring presidents to provide substantive rationale, including detailed case and specific reasons for the firing. Trump did not do this.
Country. I don't know how we would survive that. So I'm with you. I share those concerns.
Mr. Grassley noted the 30-day detailed notice of the removal of the law demands was not provided to Congress. Is this one of the people who was fired, or is this spokeswoman for Ms. Notice?
Well, yeah, I get what you're saying, obviously, but just ignore that for a second, right?
I just want to be clear.
Like,
your wet dream here. First off, you're very optimistic that Democrats become that popular again, as shitty as they are. I assume
this is a senator. I mean, how no? Maybe the senator's lying. Maybe the spokesperson's lying. Maybe New York Times is lying. I don't know. It just seems like it's a required thing to do. Required to give them notice and required to give a substantive reason, which Trump did not do either of.
Really, what I'm describing.
Well, what you're describing is that they're going to win. They're going to win with their strategy of, trust me, Elon did a Nazi salute, good stuff, right? Secondly, I don't really give a shit
that's
about.
Not what I said at all.
Okay, but that's what the Democrats are doing right now. That's what. Secondly, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit what people like you that were completely fine with the Democrats' attempts to steal the 2016 election. I don't give a fuck
Kill me.
About your fear mongering. I don't care.
Well,
I'm willing.
He gave her. Did he give like a? I'm assuming the reason in the law means that you have to write down the reasons and submit it to Congress. I don't think Trump did that. Trump probably, I don't know. Maybe Trump gave a speech afterwards and said these inspector generals are corrupt. I'm no lawyer. I bet if we read the law, it would probably be you have to submit the fucking reason to Congress.
I'm willing.
Both of you get a real job. Real
talk to right-wingers or left-wingers that called out the corruption that we saw. I'm willing to talk to them. I'm not willing to entertain your wet dream about this.
This isn't a wet dream. I'm asking you, like, if something like that happens, do you think that...
I will answer your question when you could show me your contemporaneous posting about the corruption going into the 2016.
Well, against the law, then how are they fired? Because they are? Do you not think he's the president? People do illegal things. Also, I don't think that they were... He removed. We were just reading the article where the guy said they were in effect fired because he was removed access to the computer system, and doesn't have access to the building anymore.
Election about the weaponization of the FBI against Trump.
No, he can't just do illegal things. I mean, not everything that's illegal he can just do, but like, obviously you can do an action that is illegal. Like, it's not impossible to do an action that's illegal. If it's illegal to fire these people without 30 days, it doesn't prevent or notice or whatever. It doesn't prevent Trump from bringing him into the office and saying you're fired. By the way, God, this is so fucking annoying. Trump's position here is that this is, I would imagine it's going to be challenged in court, and this is what's going to happen. Trump's position is that it's illegal it's unconstitutional for Congress to legislate any restrictions on what the president can do in the executive branch. That is Trump's position. Thank you for the follow, Sphere. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Welcome to the stream, buddy. Trump's position that he's most likely going to argue in court is that Congress can't tell me who the fuck I can and can't fire with what restrictions because Article 2 of the Constitution says unitary executive. That's going to be his position. No, you can do actions that looks illegal to us, but we don't know the detail. Okay, buddy. Good
you show me your post.
It just looks very illegal to us, but we don't know the details. So
the videos you did, I'll be more than happy.
Rob, is your position that...
My position is I don't give a shit about people like you that were more than happy with...
Well, we know inspector generals were removed from the computer system and don't have access to the building. What do you mean? That's illegal.
Weaponization to go after Trump. Now saying, but wouldn't it be terrible if Trump does things that we think are anti-democratic? I don't.
Rob, I was 19 in 2016.
Did you stream last year? Did you stream the year before? Did you stream the year before that? Can you point me to any of your posts or stream when you were talking about the weaponization of Trump from the FBI?
17 inspector generals to immediately arrange for the work laptops, the return of work laptop phones, parking decals, ID cards. Like, I don't know. Like, this isn't. Oh, maybe he didn't say you're fired, so maybe he's just ordering them to like dog. What is this cope? Dog.
Well, I'm trying to clarify your position. So your position is that you're not willing to. Well, if I could just finish. So your position is that you're not willing to take a position.
Oh, no, I'll take a position.
A hypothetical.
Absolutely, I'll take a position on a hypothetical. If that hypothetical is coming from a person in good faith that cares about corruption. You are not. So I'm unwilling to...
So true, Econoboi. You are done. He's probably sleeping. I don't think he's watching. But Econoboi is a famed Nonfon orbiter. You don't care about the corruption, Econoboi.
I'm not sure with what evidence you would say that. But
are you aware of the corruption? Well, let's do it right now. Do you condemn the corruption of the FBI and their war to prevent Trump from winning the 2016 election?
Real.
It's not my understanding that there was a war to prevent Trump.
There you go. There you go. So there's where I'm getting my evidence. Your own words.
But there's a difference between having a genuine disagreement and just like not caring that corruption is occurring.
I do care that corruption has occurred.
I'm pretty sure I don't know how much Econoboi would probably say that there were issues with Operation Firestorm Hurricane. Is that what it is? Crossfire Hurricane. I'm sure if you asked Econoboi, like, were there illegal warrants for a Crossfire Hurricane, he would probably say yes. That just doesn't like translate into what Rob Noerr think it does.
disagreement that I think that you're bad faith, that you're okay with corruption when it's weaponized against Trump, and you're like every other Democrat that was okay with that. It's my opinion. Am I not allowed to be entitled to my opinion?
Well, you're allowed to say that you think I'm bad faith, but obviously I think
you are.
For instance, right, like in 2020, what I described in hypothetical 2028, in 2020, this is like literally exactly what happened. Like Trump tried.
I gotta work tomorrow, have fun, turn on my key, so I can go to work tomorrow and have to turn on my keys and ID. A company gave me 30 days and they say they'll come back. Doesn't mean it's illegal. I don't think that's not what they. What? Okay, you would never, ever make this defense if it was Biden who did this. You would never say, well, technically, he just made them turn in their keys in laptops, but they aren't actually fired. Maybe they have 30. Dog. What do you mean we don't know? Dog.
Okay, you can talk. You can sit here and talk.
I don't even know. He might have said that they were fired. I don't know. I don't know. New York Times is using the word fired. I don't know if he, like, what exact mechanism there is for like firing them. So like, I don't know if he wrote down the word fired or not, but like, dog.
I don't give a fuck what they're saying. I don't care at all. It would be the same if you cheered for the assassination of Trump and then said, but Rob, what if Trump?
Are you really gonna believe what a I'm not. What do you mean? What a politician says? I don't even think Trump took credit for this. I don't know.
Susan, by the way, this
for the assassination of his opponents. I would say, I don't give a fuck that you have a question about that. I don't care. Bring someone on that's not bad faith, that cared about the FBI corruption going after Trump. I'll answer the question. I'm not going to answer for you. I don't give a fuck.
It just makes no sense to call me bad.
Like if Destiny's on here and he's like, Rob, what if hypothetically Trump slept with a chick and then filmed it and then released it to someone without their consent? What would you think about that? I'd say, Destiny, I'm not going to answer this question from you. See the point?
I'm not even talking about FBI corrupt. Like even if that's what your opinion is, this has nothing to do with FBI.
Yes, it has to do with corrupt institutions that were putting their thumbs on the scale of an election and affecting our democracy, which you were more than okay to cover for when it benefited your side.
You answered a question on corruption from Trump right off the jump, talking about the meme coin thing.
That's right.
I don't understand why that's.
I'm
okay talking about corruption there, but not over here.
That's absolutely correct. You asking me my opinions of what Trump's done good and what Trump's done bad is different than entertaining your hypothetical of fear mongering, which is really your intent. That you want to say, oh my God, what if Trump's?
Why do you think why do you think I don't even? Do you think that in my view I'm like, oh, I'm gonna convince Rob's audience to be scared of Trump by this? Like this is probably something your audience has heard like 1,000. I'm just genuinely curious what your opinion is.
I've told you what my opinion is, so you have my answer. I think that your goal, much like the goal of many of these Democrats, is to try to control the narrative and to constantly fear monger.
I'm not recording this. I'm not going to upload this for content. I'm just
Rip Haven, I imagine this will go to court. I would guess it's going to go to court. Congress could postpone it. He's not allowed. Congress already legislated that he can't do this, and he clearly doesn't care. I don't know, like what. I imagine this will go to a court. One of the people will sue, or Congress will do something that makes it end up in court. I imagine there will be court cases over it, and it will be disputed. I would guess that is what is going to happen.
As a person, and I'm genuinely curious what your opinion is.
It has nothing to do with content or anything. It has to do with a theme.
I'm not trying to control the narrative like that. It's not even functional that I'm able to do that within this capacity.
I'm giving you my opinion. You are following. You're right. You're probably not someone that's controlling the narrative in that you know that you're not like a big significant voice. You just follow along the example of the people that have done that, like a good little.
You know what I'm getting at, right? Not really. It just seems weird to suggest that like Congress could do something to act, and I bet they will do something to act. There are already senators who have made statements about this. When he already flagrantly ignored the rules on the rules that Congress gave him. Again, do you disagree that Trump's position, or Trump's legal team's position at least, is likely to be that Congress can't even legislate who Trump can and can't fire because of some level of unitary executive theory? Like, I would guess it's the issue that they're trying to get out of this is, can Congress even legislate to the president who we can and can't fire, based on what requirements? Or is that unconstitutional?
Is constantly fearmongered that Trump may do what they themselves have done and cheered for. And I'm not
talking about what Trump made. Trump's already done this once, right? I think
wasn't your entire hypothetical? I'm worried that in 2028 Trump will do blah 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 blah.
The Trump's legal team, who had previously had like John Eastman and Kenneth Chesborough and Cindy Powell on it. I bet Trump's lawyers are really legally making really legally sound arguments, buddy. This is Rob Noerr. What's up? Make some random claim. Ask whether you agree in some grandmaster conspiracy exists. Start gish galloping. I know it is insane. It is insane. It's also like absurd. You're bad faith because you don't agree that the FBI was. You don't care that the FBI was targeting Trump in the 2016 election. It'd be so much easier. You should just ask a much simpler question. Again, I'm sure Econoboi would even it's fine even saying certain things. Like I said, like there were bad warrants from Crossfire Hurricane. That doesn't translating to some grand corrupt conspiracy.
Bubba.
Well, if you want me to give you more evidence as to why I pretty much guarantee that he'll do this, then I could do that.
So
JD Vance explicitly said he would go along with this plot.
By the way, just real quick, all the Kick viewers, I do also stream on Twitch and YouTube and Rumble, I guess. So like, if you prefer watching there, just know that is in fact something you can do.
It's a hypothetical. First off, it contingents on Trump losing because everything's been so terrible, blah, 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 blah.
And Twitter,
It's a
I guess, but
I'm not going to listen to people hypothetically talk about weaponization of our government or a destruction of democracy through tyrannical leadership that had nothing to say when there was a threat to our democracy and weaponization of our government through tyrannical leadership when it was directed at their opposition. You had nothing to say. Fuck you.
Yeah, I don't even. First of all, you don't have evidence that I didn't say that. You're just assuming that.
I asked you specifically. Can you point to? Do you think that the FBI put their thumb on the scale corruptly going after Trump in the 2016 election?
We're talking about previous action, not what I said during the course of this conversation, right?
I asked you, and you said you didn't, and so we are talking about what you said in the course of this conversation.
Okay, well, let's just. I don't think that that's exactly right, but
I love the meta conversation and not actually talking about
let's
anything
move on from
meaningful.
there. Okay, if you don't want to answer
That's
any hypotheticals about Trump's corruption, then that's
Not for you.
Up
Tell
to
somebody
you
call
guys.
that's concerned about the corruption that was done against Trump, and then we'll have a discussion.
I mean, Rob, if you had any understanding of my full body of work, which I would not expect you to, I would expect you to understand that I have no problem calling out Democratic corruption when I think there's corruption. I just happen to have a honest, genuine disagreement with you as to the corruption of the FBI.
Was there corruption, any lawfare corruption against Trump?
Lawfare, no, again, a genuine disagreement on the lawfare against Trump. For instance, an example of corruption that Biden did that I would agree with when he pre-pardoned like his entire family and Hunter Biden, I call that a form of corruption that I would condemn. And
How
I said
about
that,
the
I tweeted it
Democrats
out, I have
impeaching
no
Trump for
problem.
trying to look into that?
The Democrats impeached Trump, form of corruption that I would condemn. And
How
I said
about
that,
the
I tweeted it
Democrats
out, I have
impeaching
no
Trump for
problem.
trying to look into that?
Oh, for the Hunter Biden. God, kill me.
The Democrats impeached Trump for trying to look into the pardon of Joe Biden.
No, for looking into the corruption of
Hunter
the Biden family that resulted in a pardon.
The thing that he was, my understanding, I'd have to do so much fucking reading on this to actually know the full story, and that's super fucking annoying. Trump was impeached for soliciting interference in the election. That was what he was impeached for. He used his power to try to get Zelensky to find dirt on Hunter Biden and Joe Biden. You're not allowed to do that. You can't do that. My understanding is that Trump had literally been told by his advisors that I believe there actually was an investigation into Burisma already under Obama. My understanding, Trump was told by his advisors that there wasn't like corruption significant enough to like look into that, or that he should use his authority to use. God, I'd have to do a full fucking reading on it. God, I hate conservatives so much. God. Why usually even try to debate about any of this stuff for real? You can have conversations with lots of people. Rob's not one of them. What time is it there? So AUS? What? Where I am, it's 4:01 a.m.
Well, no, you're talking that wasn't what Hunter Biden got. But Hunter Biden did not get pardoned for his involvement with Burisma. He got pardoned on the gun charge and like the
right. I know that as someone that was okay with this corruption, you don't know the full story. Allow me to educate you. What happened was Hunter Biden was clearly selling access to his father. Has this even been admitted?
Clearly, it's evidenced by the fact that every time conservatives tried to investigate it, they couldn't do that.
Court filings of the gun charge.
U.S. Australia. Yeah, I kind of guessed that, but I don't live in Australia, so I was confused.
This was swept up by the special counsel that was looking into Hunter, and they were going to give him a sweetheart plea deal. Because two whistleblowers from the IRS and a judge seemed to question this almost unprecedented plea deal that was getting, that would have basically given immunity, that would have only charged Hunter with crimes that were super benign. They had to go...
Maybe because they couldn't find evidence beyond a reasonable doubt for the other crimes?
Further, they decided, as I predicted, to only charge the gun charge because what they didn't want to charge was the FARA charges. Because the
I had a fun night.
Entire reason,
I was going to edit today, but this is cool too.
But they went after Trump in the first place was to cover up the fact.
I just have more editing work piling up.
That there was
hire fucking tomfoolery as my editor.
Influence being sold through.
What do I want to talk about? What do you mean? I'm fine doing what I'm doing.
President's
right
family, or then the vice president's family. That's why the FARA violation was something that they were never going to file, because the American people would say, "Oh, Hunter Biden was illegally operating as lobbying for a foreign agency. Who was he lobbying to?" And then all of a sudden the questions would have got hairy when it was prominent Democrats, including his father. And so they chose not to charge him those things and give him a slap on the wrist of charges that would insulate the rest of the Biden family and the Democratic Party. Oh, it was just some drug addict with this one gun charge, which they then proceeded to pardon. They've also then proceeded to pardon 7, I believe, other members of the Biden family. Further, it's illustrating the corruption they had.
Rob,
Biden's DOJ
I've already
itself,
called out that corruption. Your point is that, Econoboi is bad faith. He'll never call out the corruption of the Democrats. I've already called out and said that is corrupt.
I understand you, like almost every other Democrat that covers up the corruption of the Democrats, will, when it no longer matters, call it out. So now that Biden's out, yeah, sure, you'll say, sure, he was corrupt there.
When would I possibly call out that he pardoned his son in the lame duck? There was no other time to call that out, Rob.
Much like
I think I'm pretty sure I watched the Live and Learn episode because Biden pardoned Hunter Biden while he was still president. Like I'm pretty sure immediately after, it was like a day or two after, they did a Live and Learn episode. Econoboi, Josiah, Pisco, and Hutch did a Live and Learn, and they were all circle jerking. Oh, this is so bad. Oh, we need all the Democrats to like, yeah.
These Democrats, it's not that you have an affinity for a specific politician.
You never be
hate
pure enough
Trump.
for me to talk
and so
to
you're
you,
willing to throw under the bus any specific politician as long as it means getting Trump. So what you won't do is call out the corruption against Trump. You'll say, oh yeah, Menendez took money from Egypt. That's corrupt. But you won't say, wow, the FBI had illegal warrants to spy on the Trump team. That's absurd. My God, what a huge scandal.
Oh my God. If you just asked, again, I'm sure you might even mention it. They did probably have illegal warrants for Crossfire Hurricane. It's just that not all the evidence for Crossfire Hurricane was from illegal warrants, but wouldn't you all first circle jerk? I'm not on Live and Learn. I've only actually talked to one person on Live and Learn, and that's the best one, Econoboi. Pardon's the worst thing you can give someone that didn't commit well, Hunter did commit a crime, right? The gun stuff and the tax fraud stuff. He did definitely commit crimes. Yeah. That cat is so nice.
Yeah, they had one of the lead
He's nice sometimes.
agents talking about an insurance policy to prevent Trump from winning.
But all the other people, well, the argument is that they're preemptive pardons. Although I actually don't know. It could be the case that Liz Cheney did do witness tampering. I'm not qualified lawyer enough, but like from what I read, like it looks like there could definitely be a case for Liz Cheney witness tampering. But Trump has said that he wants to go after people on the J6 committee. Like, there's not evidence of them doing crime. So the argument is that they're, preemptive pardons to make sure that he can't just arbitrarily go after these people.
Terrible. These lawfare cases like the Bragg case against Trump, the 37 felonies, what a load of bullshit. You'll say, nope, all of those were legitimate.
Can Congress hold inquiries for people who have been pardoned?
I don't see evidence of political corruption against Trump, even when we have a confirmation that the FISA warrants against his team, at least 2 of them were illegal.
Okay.
You'll say, I don't take a stance on that, but I will call out Joe Biden's
earlier in the
corruption.
stream, because I do watch your content. Earlier in the stream, you talked about how Andrew Wilson had the genuine view that it is not possible to rape your wife.
Correct.
And you said, that is an abhorrent opinion.
Correct.
I totally disagree with it, but I don't think just because Andrew has that opinion that he's a terrible guy.
As a witness?
I disagree on this,
well, I meant can they actually have a committee that charges them? But as a witness, I would, obviously.
I don't think Andrew's a terrible guy just because he has that completely abhorrent, completely dogshit, insane opinion.
Correct.
So what I'm saying is, okay, analog here, just one last sentence is, I have a genuine and deep and you might say insane disagreement with you, but I just think that's insane to be like, oh, well, you're just automatically bad faith, so I'm segregating the conversation I'm willing to have with you because I'm assuming that you have bad faith. When, Rob, honestly, I've never shied away from a question you've asked or been able to, I've always answered questions as honestly as I can on the stream. Like,
okay,
I
cool.
don't think you have much reason to say that.
Let's put a pin in this for a second. What percentage of Trump supporters are garbage?
Okay, right.
Well, I've already said, I think probably about half of them have malicious reasons for voting for Trump.
Fuck you. You think half of the 80 million people? So you think 40 million people are garbage that voted for Trump?
I would say that probably 10% of this country, which equates to about half of the people who voted for Trump, they probably have what I would call immoral, malicious, malevolent reasons for voting for Trump.
What percentage of Kamala Harris
supporters are garbage? Real.
The percentage of Kamala Harris supporters who have what I would call malicious, malevolent reasons for voting for her, I don't know. I would say less, obviously. I don't even okay. Give me an example. What would be a malevolent, malicious reason?
Rob's kind of a dick. I honestly I don't think Rob's that much of a dick. Rob is aggressive sometimes, but I don't think that makes you dick. I'm aggressive sometimes. I don't think some people think I'm a dick. I'm good relationship with people, even though I'm aggressive in debates. I think Rob is Rob. Rob is, Rob does do the thing, I'm going to say, since you don't believe in my insane conspiracy, now I can kiss scalp because you're aren't to be taken seriously. But, God, I used to have a higher opinion of Rob until I was doing my subathon and then I watched the Econoboi debates. He had a 5-hour long debate with Econoboi about the Biden economy. And oh my God, that was the most miserable shit ever. Ever. Don't you know Econoboi? Job provisions. Don't you know Econoboi? CPI methodology was changed. If you used the 1981 methodology, inflation is 3 times as high. The Biden economy has been an unmitigated disaster. Of course, wages haven't kept up with inflation. Of course they haven't.
Vote for Kamala.
Want corruption to go after a disinformation council to censor people that disagree with their online?
Okay, so what percent of people, and I honestly don't know the answer, what percent of people who voted for Kamala do you think said, I'm voting for Kamala because I want her to weaponize social media and the DOJ to go after
I don't know.
political
I'm not
opponents.
the one that said 50% of her supporters are garbage. That's you.
Like, I don't, and here's the thing, my sense of things within the, I operate in a lot of Kamala crowds, I operate in a lot of Trump crowds, between my political advocacy and my family personally, respectively. I don't really know many Democrats that are like, oh, I want the FBI to just start throwing my political opponents in prison and doing corrupt acts.
Doing what?
25% of Democrats polled said they wish that Trump would have been assassinated. 1/3 of Democrats in a YouGov poll said one third of Democrats in a YouGov poll said that if parents didn't get the vaccine, that their children should be taken away from them.
So now you're giving me evidence. I'll just take it to be true, Rob. I'll just take it to be true. A quarter of Kamala voters said I would be okay with Trump, or I actively want Trump to be assassinated. I'd say those are garbage people. There you go. Lock me in for a quarter of Kamala voters. I just have no problem saying.
Why did you speak openly about Trump supporters being garbage when it was in the news, but you never said anything about Kamala supporters being garbage? Never sought to investigate it.
The context of the conversation I was having was about Trump support. I have no problem saying that people on my side of the political aisle are bad or garbage.
But if you're saying that,
Rob,
particularly when there's been some amount of pushback, like, whoa, I'd hesitate to call them garbage, like someone like Pisco was saying when you said this on a stream, don't you think you would have said, oh, but of course there's Kamala supporters that are garbage too? But some of that slipped your mind.
I mean, I have an incredibly terrible memory. I find it difficult to believe that I just didn't say anything with nuance in that regard. Like, I think oftentimes when I have that kind of conversation, what I say is, hey, to be fair, and I've said this to you, and I said this to you, I think even before the stream you're referencing, I have a view about morality that is able to be disagreed with, right? You know, for instance, I would say, hey, anybody who says I want to deport people because they're brown and I'm racist, right? It's like, there's some percentage of people who say that, right? I would say that's really bad, but there's going to be some people out there that say, no, like, that's not bad, or I actively agree with it. People can disagree about things, right? I mean, that's understandable. Well, if you have it's not like I'm necessarily correct.
You have a terrible memory. I already answered your question, and I don't give a fuck how much you're trying to, like, no, trust me, I'm a trustful guy. Fuck you. You're for the corruption.
You keep trying to corner me into like hypocrisy, and it's totally impossible to do.
You're full of shit. You were okay with the corruption against Trump. Fuck you. I owe you nothing.
I didn't say you owe me anything, Rob.
I don't owe you anything.
God, kill me. Dog, thank you so much. What did I do? You're welcome for whatever I did, I guess, but...
Sir, I told you how much.
I didn't say you owe me an answer.
If you have a legitimate question about this that you would like answered, send me someone that you know that was concerned about the corruption against Trump and have them ask me this question in a genuine way. I'd be more than happy to answer. Not from pieces of shit like you that were okay with the corruption against Trump.
Rob, why do you think I'm a piece of shit? Like,
because
you do this every time we talk, and it makes no sense, Rob.
Then stop calling in. I don't know what to say.
It is completely insane to have this kind of attitude.
Maybe I'm garbage.
You do good faith. I mean, I'm not like... I am... I mean, everyone will say this, but like, I am good faith. Like, I don't really do bad faith stuff. Like, I just don't take enjoyment in that.
At the same time,
I am like perfectly fine. I'm just like perfectly fine, like matching my level of knowledge to my level of conviction, right? So like, if I don't have a high level of knowledge of something, I'm perfectly fine just not like taking a strong stance on it. I'm perfectly fine just not like arguing over it. Like, I don't know why people seem to have like such an objection to doing that. It's like, there are certain things like Kamala did or whatever. I'm trying to give an example, but like, I just don't have a ton of knowledge in if they were good or bad. So like, I'm perfectly fine saying I don't have a strong opinion on it, and you can tell me they're bad and be like, oh, I'll be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Your explanation for why that could be bad makes sense. But Biden won the election. I don't think I don't just think, well, shit, it's all going to fall apart. I just went on with my life. Okay. I mean, the issue with like the argument against Trump is usually that like, he is not, just like any other politician that might like have some policies that you disagree with, but overall things will be mostly the same. It's that like Trump is basically, Trump uniquely does not respect institutions in the way other politicians do, is I would say is the like argument against Trump. That's smarter than professing ignorance. I mean, yeah.
Percent of the rest of the Trump
supporters.
Well,
I happen to think you're not one of the half that are garbage, but obviously you don't mind that. But
I don't mind.
I just don't. Again, for the people who say that the Democrats demonize their opponents, I don't think, I deeply disagree with your voting decisions, your political ideology, all these things. I don't think I've ever said Rob is personally a piece of shit, bad faith, garbage person. But you have no problem saying that about your political opponent.
You said it about 50% of.
I mean, I don't know. I do watch Live and Learn. Okay, I see. Listen, I see Econoboi and Live and Learn sometimes, and they make fun of Rob Noerr. Okay, but I mean, Econoboi's right. I've never seen him say like this. Rob sucks. So real Duck Festini fan.
People that vote for the person you don't agree with. And
Rob,
secondly, I'm not saying that you're a moral
voters are all perfectly moral people.
Secondly, it's not that I'm saying that I'm unwilling to talk to you or wish you ill or anything like that. I'm saying to you that you are okay with this weaponization, and therefore, much like almost every other Democrat I deal with that was perfectly fine with the weaponization against Trump and his supporters, you're now saying, well, what if Trump? You are fine in the nature of, I think that the weaponization is evident, and you're saying that it didn't exist in your opinion, which means that you were okay. Were you okay with the lawfare against Trump? Were you okay with the Alvin Bragg case against Trump? Yes or no? You'll answer any question, right? That's what you said. Yes or no?
Give me the. I'm not familiar with all these names. What's the
Alvin Bragg, the 37 felonies case in New York.
Oh, the business documents case.
Yes.
I mean, from my reading of that case, I didn't have a big problem with the charges.
Cool.
Now, in terms of the 37 different, I don't know if it had to be 37, or you could have compiled them, or maybe there's a misdemeanor versus a. I don't know, Rob. I didn't think that was the biggest issue.
Were you okay with the FISA warrants against Trump's team?
Again, you've read about this more than I have. I don't know. You have to give me.
So you didn't care to look into that obvious corruption. It didn't. That actual corruption that happened that affected.
God, I'm so what? I don't. Kill me. I don't know. I never know what people think. Like these FISA warrants, the illegal FISA warrants prove. Like this happens in prosecutions, and it's not good that it happens in prosecutions. But like this happens where there are illegal warrants. There are people who make mistakes. There are people who act in bad faith within the Department of Justice. Like this doesn't. I just don't understand what we.
2020 election. You didn't care to look in that, but you're very concerned about what might happen in 2028.
Rob, is your expectation that someone has a perfect knowledge of all issues? I mean, I'm sure that there's examples of pocketed corruption or things that you don't. I mean, I could say, oh my goodness, look at this example and that example, this policy, that policy. You don't know anything. Isn't this an important issue? Like, but I've never done that. Nor have I ever said Rob's a piece of shit because he hasn't looked into this or that.
50% of voters are garbage. Got it.
Did I call you garbage, Rob? Did I call you garbage, Rob?
Okay. Piece of shit on this issue of corruption. I don't give a fuck. You can sit here and wax and whine. I don't give a fuck. I can't be more clear. Are you gonna cry? You can cry about it?
Rob, I'm not going to cry about it.
Okay, ready to move on? There's another way to have a conversation. My belief is the evidence against corruption, of lawfare and corruption against Trump is so evident that people that refuse to acknowledge it, but then say, but, what if Trump did something? I refuse to answer them. That's it.
Rob, do you think that 100% of Kamala voters are perfectly moral, perfectly righteous people? No. You don't think there's any... Okay, so what percent do you...
I don't think Rob being this aggressive would be fine if Rob was actually presenting like the evidence of this is like so evident or whatever. He's just like not really. He's just saying it is evident. Trust me, bro. And you won't acknowledge it, so you're garbage. Like it'd be fine if you were in like a real. It's what I do, and people get mad at me for it. It's like if we're having like a really detailed discussion about things, I'll be like, you acknowledge this, right? You have to acknowledge it. You have to fucking. I need to hear these words come out of your mouth. Like, thank you, Philip Eastman, for the stop. I really appreciate it, dude. Thanks. But yeah. Rob is just not. It just doesn't work in these types of conversations.
Think are just like not morally good. They're garbage, you might say.
I didn't go on a stream defending the president.
Rob, is that a question you're refusing to answer as well? Didn't you just say that if you just don't want to answer?
Was I just answering and you interrupted me? Is that what happened?
You said.
Are you a victim now? Are you a victim now where you have to prevent someone from giving an answer because you don't like the answer and say, but you're not answering?
You're right, Rob. I'm the one that's interrupting this conversation. Please answer. Go for it. I'll be quiet.
I'm not the one who went on a stream trying to make excuses for the sitting president of the United States calling the opposition's voters garbage, who then said that roughly 50.
Kill me, dog. I don't know if Econoboi did that, but he might have. But like, this is the big deal. This is the
50% of them would be garbage. So although I think that it is a genuine truth that any political party would have people within that voting base that might not be good people, I've not called large swaths of the voting base of any political candidate garbage.
Okay, so what percent of Kamala voters would you say are morally wrong,
I don't
morally
know. I
bad
haven't
people,
called them
garbage people?
I don't know.
So
I don't have an interest like you.
So you said 25% of Democrats said they support the assassination of Donald Trump. You don't think those are garbage people? You don't think that's morally wrong
I'm not
to say
going
that?
out of my way to call them garbage. Let's use an analogy of what this would be. What percentage of black people do you think are grotesquely immoral?
Well, you'd have to give me some... How many black people
in general.
commit heinous crimes?
What percentage of black people are grotesquely immoral?
Well, again, you started by giving me some statistics about Democrats.
For the clip,
you have to give me some evidence
for the clip
about black
can you just start your saying, I, Econoboi, think that blank percentage of the black community is grotesquely immoral? Go ahead.
Rob, I don't have any evidence to say one way or the other, right?
So
now, Rob, if you wanted to say you don't have evidence to make that moral judgment.
Kill me, dog.
You're saying that no black people are grotesquely immoral? That's what you're saying?
Rob, you presented evidence that Kamala has 25% of her supporters who supported Donald Trump being assassinated.
I presented a poll suggesting...
Doesn't Econoboi know? It's 50%. 1350. Doesn't he know? Doesn't he know? Doesn't he know? Those who know.
The point is, I didn't go out of my way to, without any sort of provocation whatsoever, say certain percentages of groups of people are garbage. You did, right? That's what I'm criticizing.
The question is just so stupid. I don't actually think it's that bad. Well, I don't actually think it's that bad of a like reductio. It's like if you're saying that like because 50 or 25% of one community, those being Kamala Harris voters, support something heinous, that they are like garbage. Would you entail the same thing for the black community? If 10% of black people do something heinous, or 10% of black people garbage or whatever? Now, I don't actually think that's an emotionally strong reductio. I don't actually think it's that like logically strong of a reductio, but I understand what Rob is trying to do, and I think it's I don't think it's like bad faith or anything. It's like, I think it's fine to like make your opponent try to bite like a, to push them into a corner, to make them like bite the bullet on the reductio. I just don't think I don't really think it's emotionally down. Damned if you do, damned if you, but that's what you want in a debate. That's what you want, Rip Haven. Okay. Maybe you think that's bad faith. If I put my opponent in a position where they're damned if they do, damned if they don't, I fucking win easy.
That's what I'm criticizing. So, for example,
okay,
if you just came out, like,
but that's not a debate. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe into whatever formal definition of debate. I just think I think that's what most people consider a debate, is things where I do that. It's just that's what you have to do to some people. That's what some people deserve. Okay, that's what they deserve. Because they are garbage. No, they aren't. Well, some certain people are garbage, but obviously. But if I'm arguing with a MAGA person about tariffs and they are saying some unbelievably retarded shit, they deserve to be put in a corner. They deserve to be yelled at. Mom, if you're watching, I am correcting this position. Okay, I am. They deserve it. They deserve it. They don't learn any lesson if you don't do that. The audience doesn't get it if you don't do it, okay? If you don't humiliate them. But not if it isn't a topic. If you're derailing the debate topic to irrelevant questions, you fit. Well, that's true. Yeah. Well, no. Whenever I do this, I'm not trying to go to other topics. I'm just like, I don't even do it in like meta. I don't even want to do it in like meta conversations, like discussing what we had previously discussed in this conversation. Like, I want to do it like specifically on like, to acknowledge that tariffs increase exchange rates. Why don't we wait to see if he actually puts tariffs on shit? What do you mean? Like, why don't we wait to see if he does it to like debate it? Like, I think if I have an opinion on something, I'm not going to like wait to see what he does to have an opinion on it. I think it would be bad to do a lot of tariffs. Like, I think it's fine to talk about the policy position of a candidate if I disagree with it, or even if I agree with the policy position of a candidate, and talk about it. Like,
at least some percent.
It's a political tool kind of gotcha question to talk about tariffs, to talk about the policy position of a candidate. What? Yes. Okay. I don't want you to stab me. I want you to wait to stab me to say not to stab me. Yes. Leverage. What I understand. Part of the discussion about tariffs, about Trump's tariffs, are every debate I've had on tariffs, okay, we get to, is Trump actually going to do these tariffs, or is Trump going to use it as leverage? Okay, that is a part of every single discussion that I've had on tariffs. It's fine to talk about that too. Now, usually when I do it, I say, can we at least agree? Can I get the concession that like free trade is a good thing? And then we'll discuss if these are being, leveraged. Can we at least agree that tariffs are economically harmful? And then we'll discuss this. They never fucking do that, and it's super fucking annoying. Because I'm more interested in the economic impact than just like the leverage thing. But like literally every single discussion I've had on this, we talk about this. It's perfectly fine to discuss what we think a candidate is likely to do, and what we think a candidate is likely to do.
Black people are.
Free trade is great if it went both ways. Well, I mean, first of all, I would like people don't even make that concession to me, first of all. But also, free trade is a good thing, even unilaterally. It's still a net, even if your opponent, even if your other country has tariffs on you, it doesn't make it a net benefit to put tariffs on that country. You're still hurting consumers, and you're still getting rid of the comparative advantage. It's just there's no net benefit there.
Garbage, correct?
That's not free trade. I mean, you can engage in free trade unilaterally, right? Like, that's not, I understand it's not like free trade both ways or whatever. Like, we're not actually like in a fully free trade system. I'm just saying that we should engage in tariffs anyway. Isn't free trade? What do you mean? Tariffs are not free trade. I agree. Are tariffs anyway? Is that like, sure, I agree. Like, it's not a perfect free trade system. I'm just saying the United States countries can unilaterally like engage in free trade. I don't know what term you want me to use. Engage in free trade. They can unilaterally not put tariffs in other countries. Bro is entertaining a troll. This is real, actually. So if Canada tariffs US and we don't tariff them, it's not free trade. If you don't want to call that free trade, that's fine. But what do I like? I don't want the US to impose tariffs on Canada in that situation. So what do you want me to say? I don't think the US should tariff Canada. I think we should. I would say that that would be the U.S. unilaterally engaging in free trade, meaning the free trade only goes one way. And I have an issue with using the word free trade there. I think that's the best way to describe what I want, is I want the U.S. to have low trade barriers with countries that put trade barriers up. My point is that's not free trade. My point is, kill me.
Obviously, there's some black people who do things that I would say are morally reprehensible.
And so you would call them garbage. You would say there is a percent. Say I Econoboi say some sort of percentage of black people are garbage. Go ahead.
There you go. I agree.
Okay, so then it'd be one thing if you're like, okay, if you're pressing me on that, that's one thing. It's another thing for you to just gleefully come out and say, hey, what's up, Pisco? So yeah, I think 25% of black people are garbage. Do you think that people would look at that and say, wait, what? What's this guy? And you'd say, well, isn't it true? Or isn't there a certain percentage of black people that are garbage? Isn't that true? People would be like, well, I suppose, but what the fuck are you doing?
Well, I could look up the evidence that I'm familiar with and send it to you, but I have reason to believe that percentage is reasonable, right? And so when you said, 25% of Kamala voters supported, they actively said, I want Trump to be assassinated, I'd say, yeah, those are probably garbage people. And I don't have a problem saying that. That's evidence. I agree with it. Your
words, great.
So if somebody advocates for the assassination of Trump, you're not willing to say that is a morally reprehensible garbage person.
I'm saying that if Trump came out and called Democrats garbage.
You don't see a problem with that? I don't think that you can demonstrate that it's a net benefit for the U.S. to tariff other countries just because that country is tariffing you. Unless you say that the tariff is going to lead to, tariffing them is going to lead to negotiations that make it free trade both ways. In that case, I would agree the end there is good, the end being free trade. So I would agree that end is good. And if tariffs can be used as instrumentally a way to get there, I would say they're instrumentally good, but they're like intrinsically bad in that I believe, again, unilateral free trade is still a net benefit. Yeah.
And said, yeah, 50% of Democrats are garbage. I can understand people saying like, wow, sounds like you're really digging in on that and adding fuel to the fire. And then me saying, but wait, you're saying that you wouldn't say that certain percentage of people are garbage.
It's okay for other countries to tariff us? No, I don't. What do you mean? I think it's okay for them. I don't think they should be doing it. I think it hurts us and them. I think both sides of it are hurt. I don't know what you mean by I think it's okay. I wish they didn't do it. Again, I would even agree if we use tariffs to make them get rid of their tariffs, that could even be a good thing. There's a potential for that to be a good thing. Okay, how would you stop it? Well, wait. Do we agree that even if another country tariffs you, it's not beneficial to tariff them if it doesn't? Let's assume it doesn't lead to them removing their tariffs. Do we think it would still be a net benefit to tariff them? That's why I didn't
and
hear
I
the
went
last
on and
sentence.
said, yeah, 50% of Democrats are garbage. I can understand people saying like, wow, sounds like you're really digging in on that and adding fuel to the fire. And then me saying, but wait, you're saying that you wouldn't say that certain percentage of people are garbage. It's bullshit.
Wow. Incredible conversation. Incredible, nice, good faith conversation where they really went into a lot of detail about specific things and definitely did not have a random meta conversation for no fucking reason the entire time. Kill me, dog. If you want to chat with me live, sub here or go to Nonfon 420 on Twitch or Kick via the links below. Once again, please like and sub to help with the algorithm, and consider sending a donation through YouTube Super Thanks to directly support me, and I'll make sure to reply to any question you ask. See you guys next time.